Business Focus with Kudzi, Sharara on the Champions League Breakfast.
At POSB, we believe in empowering every individual to reach their full potential. From children to youths, informal workers to professionals, startups to large enterprises, and farmers to retirees, POSB has financial solutions for everyone. Welcome to the Business Focus, proudly brought to you by the People's Own Savings Bank, POSB.
18 minutes before 8 a.m. is our time. It's 18 minutes before 8 a.m. Good morning and welcome to Business Focus right here on Capital Talk, as always, with Kudzi Sharara. Good morning, Kudzi. How are you doing today?
Good morning, Tinashe. Good morning, everyone.
All right. So today, what are we talking about today, Kudzi?
So Tinashe, within the Zimbabwean economy, in terms of payment of taxes, there have been issues with the business community not understanding how the Income Tax Act is actually implemented, because now Zimbabwe is using a dual currency. We use the US dollar, we use the ZIG. Businesses are finding it difficult to say, when it comes to the payment of tax, how am I going to pay my tax? Am I going to pay in ZIG? Am I going to pay in US dollars? And actually, some businesses have actually taken ZIMRA to court to challenge the way these taxes are paid. And so today we thought, look, let's hear from the horse's mouth to explain to the Zimbabwean business community to say, when it comes to the payment of tax, how exactly is it going to be done? Yes.
So to help us unpack all that, we are joined in the studio by Mr. Matthias Chinanai, who is the ZIMRA Head Technical Services Domestic Taxes Division. Good morning to you, Mr. Chinanai, and thank you so much for coming to Business Focus.
Good morning. Thank you very much. Good morning, Zimbabwe.
Good morning. Now, Mr. Chinanai, could you elaborate on ZIMRA's policy regarding the currency of transaction for tax payment, particularly as it applies to the business that operate in multiple currencies?
Thank you, Kudzi. Let me say from the instance, this is not a very new phenomenon. Our laws were amended sometime in 2009, which is now quite long back, to require payment of tax in foreign currency. So this is based on the income tax laws that are currently obtaining in Zimbabwe. So the law indicates that where one is trading, they are supposed to pay tax. We normally call it in the currency of trade or the currency of transaction, which means that if someone is selling his goods in foreign currency, then they are supposed to pay the tax in foreign currency. If they are selling in the local currency, then they also pay tax in local currency. And if they are having a mixture of these, which is a composite of the currencies, they pay in local currency to the extent they sold in local currency, and then also in foreign currency to the extent that they paid in forein currency.
And are there any specific laws that back the payment of taxes, or how people remit their taxes?
Yes, of course. We have the Finance Act, Chapter 2304, and in Section 4A of the Finance Act, it provides that for income from trade and investment, which is what we call the businesses in general, they are supposed to account for tax in foreign currency. It also applies to their employees where they earn income in foreign currency. They also pay tax in foreign currency. And you also find some businesses are involved in mining, which means that they pay mining royalties. In terms of that Section 4A, it also says to the extent that those royalties are also derived from foreign currency, they are also supposed to be paying the royalties in foreign currency. Businesses are also affected by stamp duties in some transactions. You see, when people dispose shares, when people dispose properties, they pay stamp duties, and the Section 24A of the Finance Act provides for payment of stamp duties in foreign currency. And some of them may also dispose immovable property. And Section 39A of the Finance Act provides for payment of capital gains tax in foreign currency. You will also find that some businesses are involved in selling goods and are liable to be registered for value-added tax. And then Section 38 of the value-added tax provides for the payment of VAT in foreign currency to the extent that the amount has been received in foreign currency. So there are laws that are in place which we adhere to. Thank you.
Okay. So, Mr. Chinanai, with what you have said, how does ZIMRA ensure that taxpayers accurately account for and obviously declare transactions in their respective currencies, especially when both local and foreign currencies are involved?
Okay, thank you for that. As you can realize, Zimbabwe is very, very, very big. So the most important factor that we emphasize is voluntary compliance. We expect that our taxpayers are supposed to know the various laws, so that they come on their own. But however, in the event that they have challenges, that's when we come in to support and at times also to enforce. So we do publish public notices in the print media, in the social media, to clarify tax issues. We arrange and hold the workshops for taxpayers where we explain what is required. We also engage stakeholders through their controlling bodies or associations. We are also on radio, on TV, social media. We also have another system called fiscalization, which is developed into what we now call the fiscalization data management system, where those that are registered for VAT are supposed to fiscalize their operations, which means they acquire devices or connect their accounting systems directly to ZIMRA, so that as they transact, their transactions are recorded in the ZIMRA servers at the time the transactions are taking place. So that system will help us in future to enforce.
Yeah, so Zimbabwe is in a multi-currency system. In instances where businesses have a mix of local and foreign currency income, what are the current guidelines for apportioning tax liabilities between the different currencies?
Okay. With regard to income tax, I think the law was amended last year, which requires that for income tax purposes, where a taxpayer earns more than 50% in foreign currency, income tax is accounted for on the 50-50 basis. Which means that the taxpayer will add up his foreign currency and the Zimbabwe dollar income or ZIG income, and then 50% of the total is the tax on that is determined in foreign currency, and then on the other 50% in local currency. But where this does not obtain, then it means the currency of trade general principles will apply, which means if someone is selling largely in local currency, then they apply the general currency of trade provisions. Yes.
It's 11 minutes before 8 a.m. We are speaking to Mr. Matthias Chinanai, who is the ZIMRA Head Technical Services Domestic Taxes Division, to unpack the issues to do with payments of taxes in Zimbabwe. There is a question on our WhatsApp, Mr. Chinanai. One of our listeners is saying that, may you please explain why the VAT payment date was changed from 25 to 15? Why I am asking is because in Zimbabwe we are facing a liquidity crunch, and generally companies are finding it difficult to pay due to constrained cash flows.
Okay. Thank you very much. I think the VAT due date, it affects both the taxpayers and the government at the same time. So you find the VAT date used to be 25, and I think from our analysis it was also problematic for the taxpayers to be able to honor that date of the 25th. So putting it on the mid of the month was meant to ensure that from both sides there will be time to account for the tax in full. Because remember, the VAT would have been collected in the previous month, and then it's supposed to be paid in the following month. So still, the taxpayers would have had use of the money that they would have collected. Thank you.
And what mechanisms are there in place to assist taxpayers in navigating the complexities of the multi-currency tax payments, particularly given the dynamic economic environment?
Okay. Kudzi, I think this takes on from the previous question that you had asked. Yes. But you will notice that although the economy is very dynamic, the tax laws are not, in most cases, very dynamic, all of them. So the changes that are happening may not filter to all of the tax types. I think what we have seen being affected mostly over the time has been the corporate income tax. Besides what we had discussed, our interactions with the taxpayers, engagements, like we also do carry out audits and investigations where we try to verify the transactions that the taxpayers would have declared to establish whether they are truthful, they are accurate, they are honest, and then assist them to pay the correct tax. Interest and penalties are also provided in terms of the law to do that, to ensure that payments are done.
So some institutions, they've actually taken ZIMRA to court. What do you think are the misconceptions and challenges that maybe such taxpayers are facing to comply with the currency of transaction principle, and how does ZIMRA address this?
Okay, thank you. Yes, you see, when you were asking that previous question, taxpayers are allowed to, first of all, object to assessments or decisions that are made by the commissioner, and then if they are not happy with those decisions, they appeal to the courts, so that the courts can provide clearer positions with regard to the issues. From our view, these are issues around interpretation. So some taxpayers may presume that when they are operating, ZIMRA may never know that they traded in foreign currency or in local currency, or they do not issue invoices, so that at the end of the day they would suspect that ZIMRA will never find the truth about it, and just general misinterpretation. You see, the laws provide that where someone is not sure, you can come and request the commissioner for an opinion, and even if we give opinions, some of the opinions are not taken. So this results in the court instances that we do have, and the audits and investigations that we carry out would now reveal what would have happened. Yes.
All right. So another question from Peter Samunderu on our WhatsApp platform is saying that while the law is there, the problem is that when a business invoices a customer in Forex, the customer has an option to pay in Zimbabwe gold, but ZIMRA will not accept Zimbabwe gold component of that payment, and you cannot get Forex from the auction system to pay ZIMRA taxes.
That's a very specific question. But I think what the important issue is to say, what does the law say? The law for income tax is saying where an amount is accrued or is received in the respective currency, then it is supposed to be declared appropriately. Where the taxpayer may not be happy with a specific decision, then they are supposed to engage, and then we look into the issues such that they are resolved. The issue of availability of foreign currency, I think the Reserve Bank, if you take note, there are times when there was a time when they put a requirement that where they retain certain amounts for exports, and then they give the businesses the amounts in local currency. The tax on that would be paid in Zimbabwean dollars. So we do not force one to pay in foreign currency which is not due. That's why we are saying if that happens, taxpayers have the right to raise an objection or to raise a query, and then those issues are looked into. Yes.
I'm getting a message here from an executive of a locally listed company.
Yes.
And he's saying, can you ask why foreign-owned companies are not charging VAT? Maybe in that particular sector that he operates in, he believes that players in that sector, the foreign-owned ones, are not paying taxes. Is there a requirement that everybody should pay taxes, or they're actually exempted?
Okay. Foreign-owned companies are required to pay VAT if they are providing services from their foreign bases which are consumed in Zimbabwe. So we do have foreign registered companies that are actually registered for VAT. I think in terms of Section 13A of the VAT Act. So for e-commerce transactions, For e-commerce trade, they are registered in Zimbabwe. But we cannot register them for services that they are trading in their countries. We only register them if they are trading in Zimbabwe.
But if they are manufacturing, for example, if they are manufacturing here in Zimbabwe and selling their products, they are supposed to pay VAT.
Yes, they pay VAT. They do register for VAT. You find most of them, if it is a foreign company, they will establish at times a local company which will be registered. But if they don't do that, and we have the information, then we will register them.
Yeah, maybe the executive has to turn into a whistleblower there.
It did.
and like tell us some of those that are not paying VAT.
Yes, like you were saying, the economy one is very big, the economy is dynamic, so we may not be present on every transaction. So like you indicate, there's a whistleblower facility, they can share that information and then we'll take corrective action.
Yeah, because they end up having a competitive disadvantage if somebody is not paying VAT because they obviously become cheaper.
That's true.
Another question, it looks like Mr. Chinanai mnofana kuzodzoka futi because WhatsApp yakazara nema questions enyu. But this one says, why does ZIMRA take time to refund client or seem reluctant to do so? We have seen that after a ZIMRA audit to determine the refund and it's concluded, ZIMRA always come back with more and more requests, further delaying the refund to be processed.
Okay. Thank you for that. You see, this is a historical issue. We used to have a system which was sub-based, and this system malfunctioned. And then we have since rolled on to a new system. I think we have heard of the TAMS, Tax and Revenue Administration Management System. So the old system had resulted in a backlog in terms of refund processing. So since the beginning of the year, we have been working on this backlog to clear it, and we have done quite a lot on that. So going forward, we are looking to ensuring that the refunds would be paid current. But this was due to one system challenges, and some of the refunds have to be audited. You see, this issue of currency of trade that we are talking about creates a number of complications also that need to be verified. So when someone claims a refund, you're supposed to verify it, and then until you get. But we are not reluctant. There are processes and procedures to be followed also. Thank you.
Maybe last question because of our time. What is ZIMRA's stance on cases where a taxpayer initially pays in one currency, but it is later determined that a different currency was the appropriate one for that transaction?
Okay, thank you. You see, remember at the beginning we said the law says you pay tax in foreign currency to the extent.
Yes.
So if you decide to pay in Zimbabwean dollars, where foreign currency is required, we can substitute. We'll require the foreign currency and we'll refund you the Zim dollar that you would have paid. And our systems at the moment do not allow the mixing of those foreign currencies.
Okay.
Those currencies. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Matthias Chinanai, ZIMRA Head Technical Services, Domestic Taxes Division, for enlightening us more to do with taxes in Zimbabwe. We would want to have you again on the show so that the questions will be answered more for our listeners. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
At POSB, we are committed to providing the support for everyone to thrive and succeed. Today's Business Focus was proudly brought to you by POSB, celebrating 120 years of transforming livelihoods and building unforgettable memories together. Hashtag convenience made simply possible.
Business Focus with Kudzi, Sharara on the Champions League Breakfast.
Capital 100.4 FM. Harare's heartbeat.